Imagine if I told you we've already discovered the secret to time travel. You'd probably assume I was referring to some crazy new particle accelerator or a wormhole found in the backyard of an unsuspecting homeowner. Closed timelike loops are basically time paradoxes made real, allowing you to go back in time and do things like kill your own grandfather before your father was born, therefore preventing your own existence. He followed up his research by proposing a way to make a Tipler cylinder out of smaller cylinders packed together in a grid pattern, with each cylinder free to rotate independently of the others. But Tipler argued that this wouldn't necessarily be the case, citing a thought experiment in which a person could climb inside the cylinder after it had already created a time loop. It can also theoretically allow for the formation of closed timelike curves, or CTCs. CTCs are essentially time paradoxes made real. Every event that has ever occurred or will ever occur has always occurred or will always occur. Well, unfortunately, most physicists agree that the answer is no. In recent years, researchers have begun to take a fresh look at the Tipler cylinder, now viewing it as a mathematical curiosity rather than a serious proposal for time travel. After all, who knows what other crazy theories will come along in the future that could change everything we know about the universe. Maybe one day we all find a way to turn back time and fix all those embarrassing moments we wish we could forget. Or maybe we all discover that the universe is just a computer simulation and the programmers will hit replay. Until then, though, we can keep dreaming about time travel while stuck in traffic. Because what's better than sitting in a metal box on wheels, inching forward on a congested freeway, knowing you could be anywhere else in the world, even the future or the past? At least you do and have to deal with the stress of potentially creating a catastrophic paradox that undoes your entire existence. Now that's a real tip for traveling through time. In fact, some physicists believe that the Tipler cylinder may hold the key to understanding quantum gravity, which is arguably one of the biggest unsolved problems in physics today. While Tipler's idea is mathematically elegant, it relies on several assumptions that are highly questionable, to say the least. For example, the Tipler cylinder assumes that spacetime is perfectly smooth and continuous, when in reality, it's incredibly lumpy and chaotic. It also assumes that matter can be infinitely dense, which not only violates Einstein's theories, but also makes physical. I mean, have you ever tried to squeeze an elephant into a shoe? It's not possible. Basically, everything would be predetermined. No free will, no surprises, just an endless cycle of déjà vu. They allow you to go back in time and do things like kill your own grandfather before your father was born, thereby preventing your own existence. While this may sound like the plot of a cheesy time travel movie, it's actually something that many physicists take very seriously. Stephen Hawking, for example, has spent much of his career trying to prove or disprove the possibility of CTCs, allowing them to travel back in time without ever having existed. That's a paradox wrapped in a conundrum, topped off with a cherry of utter confusion. This solved the issue of length, but unfortunately added another layer of complexity, requiring the cylinders to rotate faster than the speed of light. Not only is this impossible according to Einstein's theories, it also creates some pretty big paradoxes. The science fiction world just got very real, so let's dive right in. But what if the key to unlocking time travel has been staring us in the face the whole time? What if all we need to bend time is a really long tube? In today's video, we're going to explore a strange object called the Tipler cylinder, which has shocked physicists with its potential to not only allow for time travel, but also the creation of closed time-like loops. First, some backstory. Back in 1974, physicist Frank Tipler wondered if it were possible to rotate a very long, thin cylinder so fast that it would warp space-time around it, creating a time machine. In order for this to work, the cylinder would need to be made of some incredibly strong stuff, like 100 trillion times the density of nuclear reactor-grade steel. But assuming such a material was possible, Tipler concluded that rotating it at 70% of the speed of light would cause space-time to curve in on itself, allowing someone who climbed inside to travel back in time. But there's a catch. This only works if the cylinder is infinitely long. Fortunately, Tipler wasn't done yet. For example, one might think that since nothing can travel faster than light, this would mean that the person climbing inside the cylinder would be unable to get back out. But this isn't the only way Tipler's cylinder can break the laws of physics. According to Hawking, if CTCs do exist, it would mean that our universe began in a state of eternal time travel. So does any of this actually make sense? Despite these criticisms, Tipler's work has not gone entirely unnoticed. Personally, I remain skeptical that the Tipler cylinder will ever be more than just a fun thought experiment. But hey, I never say never.